Okay, so good morning everyone. Welcome to the 40th annual meeting, AGM, of the Archaeology Society of Alberta. I'm Larry Steinberger. I'm one of the three co-chairs, I guess, of this session. So I guess I'm one of the three legs on a tripod pot. So I like to think of it. Along with Doug Shaw from Red Deer Centre and Brian Vivian from the Calgary Centre. Our first, before we get started this morning, apologies, there's been some confusion. So there is not going to be a town crier this morning. Is there going to be one this evening then? Maybe? Possibly. So anyway, so hear ye, hear ye. Our first, before we get started, I'd like to introduce Fred Bradley from ARF, who's just going to bring greetings on behalf of the province, I guess. Oh, there you go.
Well, thank you very much. I'm chairman of the Alberta Historical Resources Foundation Board, and this, to me, in some ways, Old Home Week. I know it's your 40th anniversary, and I'm bringing greetings and congratulations to you on behalf of the board of the Alberta Historical Resources Foundation. And I'll give you some brief background to the foundation. We are funded by the lotteries, and we're an organization which is set up under the Alberta Historical Resources Act to promote and preserve Alberta's history in its many different facets. And of course, archaeology is one of those very important facets. And we provide funding to a number of provincial heritage organizations through the money we receive from Alberta lotteries. Our funding goes to your organization, our Archaeological Society of Alberta, which in turn assists you with the very important work you do through the 6 chapters you have throughout the province. We also fund the Alberta Historical Society of Alberta. The Alberta Museums Association receives grants from us, the Alberta Genealogical Society, and the Alberta Archives Society. We also have a Heritage Preservation Partnership Program which provides grants for the built heritage of our province and also grants for research and heritage awareness, and there's other grants which we provide to promote and preserve Alberta's history. But I wanted to say your society plays a very important role in a very important area, prehistory and paleontological resources of our province. The work you do through your 6 chapters is just outstanding, and what you do to promote the awareness of our paleontological and prehistory resources. The archaeological camps you do, all the work you do to promote that is very much appreciated. I feel like this is Old Home Week because I was introduced to archaeology back in many of you here might know about the Lifeways of Canada camp out at Crow's Nest Lake, at the dance hall there, and the digs that were done there through the highway impact assessment of Highway 3, and that's my home as the Crow's Nest Pass. And my introduction to archaeology was through no other than your Dr. Brian Reeves. And Brian, I was an early member of the Crow's Nest Historical Society. We were learning about all the important prehistory and history we had down there. And Dr. Reeves was one of our very early guest speakers. And I think we engaged him to do some work for the society in terms of some historic cemeteries, etc. So Dr. Reeves and your society is very much a part of my life in learning about prehistory and archaeology in this province. So I wish you congratulations with the very important work you do and every success here today with your 40th anniversary conference. Thank you very much.
Okay, now I'd like to ask BV to come up and talk a little bit about what the scope of the papers being presented here today.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Welcome to the Archaeological Society's version of dinner theater. I appreciate that it's a very imaginative way to present a conference with all of you seating in very luxurious tables back there, and the crowds at the front that are really interested in what you're talking about. I do want to welcome everybody for attending and appreciate the interest and response that we've had to the conference this year. It is the 40th anniversary, and so for that reason, we've taken a little different tack. In that, rather than have a lot of papers presented that are about current research and things that are going on, we thought that it would be a really nice idea and a very opportune time to ask people to reflect on how we've advanced things, archaeology, over 40 years. 40 years ago, was when the Archaeological Society was established, but that also corresponds very closely to when the cultural resource legislation was implemented in the province of Alberta. The Archaeological Society and the cultural resource legislation and the Archaeological Survey have kind of gone hand in hand in promoting studies of archaeology in the province. And for that reason, we have kind of targeted the discussion of a 40-year retrospective. The speakers that you'll see today don't reflect all of the experience in the province, but we've targeted speakers that really have real knowledge and understanding of the topics that they were asked to speak on. The topics they're speaking on are topics that were not their choice, but they're topics that were my choice. Those are the things that I thought were important and resonated with what people should have an understanding with what has gone on in this province archaeologically over the last 40 years. It is not the sum total. I realize there are many great contributors that are not present or are not, were not asked. Tom Head and Stan Van Dyke certainly come to mind very quickly. And I realize there are others too. But I do feel that within the time constraints of one day of presentations with talks that are aimed to provide sort of a range of what's happened across the province, that we have a very good program. And I really appreciate that all the speakers I approached said, certainly they stepped up to the plate and said they would like to take on those topics. So enough of that. I think we should commence. I'm asking Larry to provide introduction of speakers this morning, and then this afternoon I'll take over. A couple of other small details. There is the annual general meeting, which is going to be in the next room down the hall at the end of today. For those of you who wish to attend that annual general meeting, which is more of a business meeting, there are going to be packages for annual reports and things to be handed out. And so, and I'm not sure if everybody attends, we're not going to have enough packages, but in our experience, usually we say annual general meeting and about 3/4 of this room kind of clear out and go to the bar. So we kind of planned accordingly with just a limited number of packages. Now that's not to quell your interest in the annual general meeting, because if you want to know, we can share those packages. And then tomorrow, we do have a field trip following the presentations of today and the banquet of tonight. The banquet's going to be back with the dinner theater crowd are. And I need a confirmation. Are there any banquet tickets left? Does anybody know?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, there are no banquet tickets left. If you haven't got a banquet ticket, you should have pre-registered.
I believe there's a possibility there might be 1 or 2 spaces if there's any, if
Okay,
anybody didn't come.
speak to Larry if you want to sneak into the banquet.
Or talk to somebody at the front desk.
The other thing is tomorrow there's a field trip. For the field trip, we're going to be visiting the sites of Dry Island and Rumsey Cairn. And as far as I know, we're going to essentially have Bob Daw put up the drone and then just follow wherever it goes. There's 2 ways of doing that, but we'll see how that works. Anyways, with that, I'm going to have Larry.
With the field trip, where's it meeting?
Okay, the field trip is going to commence by starting in the parking lot tomorrow morning, say 9 o'clock. We'll sort of gather in the parking lot, and from here we'll follow out to the location to Dry Island. So 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in the lobby and in the front parking lot.